This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
The Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas met in Jerusalem with Israel's Prime Minister Ehud Olmert. Meanwhile, Israel announced that it intends to release 250 Palestinian prisoners, mostly from Fatah faction. In addition, it will stop pursuing wanted activists from the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades, the military wing of Fatah, provided that they turn in their weapons to the Palestinian Authority. Moreover, Israel said that it will allow 5 Palestinian leaders to return to Ramallah.
In their bi-weekly meeting to explore the prospects for peace, the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and Israel's Prime Minister Ehud Olmert met in Jerusalem. This news comes after Israel announced that it will temporarily stop pursuing armed Palestinians from Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades, provided they turn in their weapons to the Palestinian Authority. Abbas and Olmert are expected to discuss the names of the 250 Fatah prisoners Israel intends to release. In addition, Israel agreed to allow 5 PLO members, including Farouk Qaddoumi and Naif Hawatmeh, to return to the West Bank. Having said that, Israel expects something in return for what it described as a good gesture.
We demand the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas restore stability in the West Bank. We also demand the government of Saddam Fayyad maintain control over the security situation.
In return, the Palestinians demanded Israel stop carrying out incursions into the West Bank and remove certain checkpoints in order to allow the presidential guards to enforce law and order, as well as deploy the Badr force in the streets. The most important Palestinian demand is to find a mechanism to move the peace process forward.
Political negotiations are at the top of the agenda of His Excellency President Abu Mazen. In addition, we must restart the peace process, a process that is based on the roadmap for peace, which will help end the Israeli occupation of 1967.
The Abbas-Olmert meeting comes amidst a political storm in the Israeli parliament. While Israel's right wing strongly opposed the Olmert gesture, the left wing cautiously welcomed it.
President Abbas, also known as Abu Mazen, suddenly was transformed into a friend and renounced terrorism. Now we must try to help him. We are repeating the same mistakes we made after withdrawing from Gaza.
It is a good gesture, provided it carries with it a political objective that will bring us to a dialogue based on the Saudi initiative and resolutions of the Arab League. However, if it becomes the solution, it will cause harm to Abu Mazen, and he will be accused of collaborating with Israel.
Good gestures may turn into curses if they are not followed by serious steps to move the peace process forward. In defending his decision, Olmert said that this gives him a chance to strengthen the anti-Hamas and anti-Islamic Jihad campaign. In addition, it helps enhance Israel's security and strengthen the position of the moderates inside the Palestinian Authority.
أكدت مصادر رئاسة الوزراء الإسرائيلية أن هناك
The Israeli Prime Minister has announced that the Israelis and Palestinians have come to an agreement over ending the pursuit of 180 people wanted by Israel who are armed members of the Fatah movement. The agreement allows these wanted individuals to become part of the Palestinian Security Agency as long as they are prohibited from carrying weapons. A Palestinian source confirmed that Israel intends to give amnesty to a list of 180 178 wanted Intifada al-Aqsa activists and stop pursuing them under certain conditions. Sources say that among the names on the list is Zakaria Zubaydi, the leader of the Al-Aqsa Brigades in Jenin.
Amjad said that these are the first hours that he has been able to see the light in 5 years. He's an activist with the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades, which is affiliated with the Fatah movement. The Israeli security agency pursued him for many years before placing him on a list of 178 Fatah activists who Israel decided to stop pursuing at the request of the Palestinian president. Now, his personal security is temporarily in the clear. However, his happiness is dampened because his companions are still being pursued. His message is aimed toward Israel.
I hope that there will be an honest government, honest with itself and with its people, in order to conduct a real and serious peace process, because this situation can no longer be tolerated by the Palestinians or the Israelis.
Activists of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades in the Bethlehem Governorate reiterate their strong support for the decisions made by the presidential office, especially during this current stormy situation. However, the exclusion of hundreds of wanted individuals affiliated with the brigades and other armed factions leaves the door open for future developments, whether with the resumption of resistance or the dissolution of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades.
We will not close a deal with the blood of Palestinians against Palestinians. If I continue to be pursued, and my colleague is pursued, as well as the rest of our comrades and mujahideen, then there is no safety or security in the Palestinian streets with respect to the enemy.
In response, Israel says that the decision to stop pursuing a group of activists is aimed at trying to open a new road amidst a cooling-off period. Israel also confirms that it will continue to pursue anyone who continues to target its security.
There is a cooperation between the two sides with the basic understanding of the need to strengthen those people who support dialogue and oppose terrorism. Only they will lead in establishing a Palestinian state and strengthening it.
The case of the Palestinian resistance activists who are being pursued by Israel will continue to be an essential file as long as no serious measures are made to close it.
ببرنامج المدار شيرين يونس، قناة أبو ظبي، القدس الغربية.
Dozens of Israelis waited outside the Tel Aviv apartment of President Shimon Peres to wish him well on his first day on the job. Peres traveled to Jerusalem to take up residence in his new home, the President's house, in the Talbiyah neighborhood in the capital. Peres met his new staff and also attended his first memorial ceremony in his new official capacity. Peres' new neighbors said they were looking forward to meeting the newest resident on their block.
Wish him well, good health, good deeds, and I'm happy to have him here.
You think he's going to be a good neighbor?
I don't think he's interested particularly in neighbors. I think his interests and wishes and activities are beyond just neighborhoods. I'm sure at home, in his Tel Aviv home, he's a good neighbor. I don't know if, I'm sure he will be. They have always been good neighbors, the staff at the President's house.
Shimon Peres became the 9th president of the State of Israel at an emotional ceremony filled with much pomp and circumstance last night at the Knesset in Jerusalem. We get more in this report by Sheila Zucker.
It was pomp and ceremony for the arrival of Shimon Peres at the Knesset to be sworn in yesterday as Israel's 9th president. Motorcycles, mounted police, and blaring trumpets accompanied Peres' vehicle. Military formation stood at attention as Speaker of the Knesset Dalia Itzik approached the Volvo to welcome the elder statesman. The two approached the Knesset building on a red carpet, passing flag-waving scouts from Kfar Adumim. Peres examined the Israel Defense Forces Honor Guard and laid a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier located at the entrance to the Knesset building. At the swearing-in ceremony, attended by hundreds of former politicians, government ministers, Knesset members, foreign ambassadors, relatives of victims of terror, and Peres family members, but missing his ailing wife Sonia, acting President and Knesset Speaker Dalia Itzek shouted, in accordance with Knesset custom, "Long live the President of the State of Israel," with the audience answering, "Long live, long live, long live." In his inaugural address, Peres reviewed his life and how it was intertwined with the history of Israel. He expressed appreciation for the trust placed in him and expressed sadness at leaving the Knesset, which he has been part of for more than half his life. He spoke of the importance of his serving as president of all the citizens of Israel, and not only certain sectors of the population. With his upcoming 84th birthday next month, Shimon Peres is the oldest president in Israel's history and will be 91 at the completion of his term. This is Sheila Zucker for IBA News.
Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Daniel Gillerman, flew back to Israel especially for the inauguration of President Peres. He told IBA's Leah Zinder why it was important for him to be here.
I did come especially. I came with great pride, great excitement and great emotion. I think not only does Mr. Peres deserve this, but we deserve this. We deserve the honor and we deserve the respect which he will bring to all of us. And I'm here and I'm very, very happy to be here.
Are you a particularly close friend of Mr. Peres?
I am. I've known Mr. Peres for many years. He is also the one who appointed me as ambassador to the UN. So I owe him what is probably the most exciting chapter of my life. But beyond that, we've been friends for a very long time. We've worked together. We have shared a lot of experiences together. We share books. We share thoughts. I share some of his dreams, although his are far greater and far bigger than mine.
Mr. Ambassador, do you think that President Peres, and we must get used to saying that now, President Peres will continue his efforts to achieve peace even though he has left government?
I'm sure he will never give up his quest for peace, but I'm also sure that he will do it in the proper manner. He understands fully the difference between being in government and being a president. He will do it in coordination and consultation with the Prime Minister and others. But this is so deep inside him, this is burning inside him, and I don't think he'll let that fire be extinguished just by having a new title.
Tens of thousands of supporters will participate in rallies around the world today and tomorrow, calling for the release of kidnapped IDF soldiers Gilad Shalit, Ehud Goldwasser, and Eldad Regev. Jewish groups organize the demonstrations in hopes of keeping the plight of the soldiers on the international agenda. Rallies will be staged in front of the United Nations building in New York, the Syrian embassies in Washington, London, and Ottawa, and the Israeli consulate in Toronto. There will also be demonstrations in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Montevideo, Uruguay, Caracas, Venezuela, as well as Johannesburg and Cape Town, South Africa.
Meanwhile, French Foreign Minister Bernard Kouchner believes kidnapped soldiers Ehud Goldwasser and Eldad Regev are alive. The two were snatched a year ago by Hezbollah terrorists while patrolling Israel's northern border. The French diplomat said he raised the issue with Hezbollah officials during talks this week with various Lebanese factions discussing the future of Lebanon.
An explosive charge slightly damaged a vehicle of the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, 70 kilometers south of Beirut, today in the second attack on UN troops in less than a month. A UNIFIL spokeswoman said that there was a small bomb explosion near the Qasimiya Bridge in southern Lebanon. No casualties were inflicted among the UN forces. At the scene, UNIFIL troops along with Lebanese army troops were inspecting the side of the road where the small bomb had been placed. The vehicle belonged to the Tanzanian battalion of UNIFIL and was hit by shrapnels that shattered the front shield windows of their car. Meanwhile, in Nahr al-Barid in northern Lebanon, 2 Lebanese soldiers were killed today as the army continued to make tangible advances in its 8-week battle against Fatah al-Islam. The army is continuing its advance on the ground, and we have registered significant progress on tightening the noose. More on the Islamist hold